Everybody, welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm a flan-eating mad scientist about to tell you that you have a microchip for a brain.
Who doesn't have a microchip for a brain these days?
Well, okay. Fair enough.
I mean, I keep mine in my pocket, but still.
I know, we kind of do, don't we? That's the social commentary corner.
Haha. Are we going to start having corners now? Is that how this is going?
Oh, Lord, no.
Oh, goodness. So what have you been up to since last time?
Well, we've been watching the new episodes of Steven, and we've watched the new, we watched She-Rob. I don't remember if we talked about that. And we watched, the new series of Unfortunate Events has been coming out, so we watched that, and we caught up on DuckTales.
You always got to have those DuckTales. What was that first one you mentioned?
Which one? Steven?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep up with Steven. I like Steven.
Well, I mean, he's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, what show is this?
Steven Universe, you know it.
Oh, Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Is it still going?
Yeah. It's supposed to be on its last 2 seasons, but the big thing is Cartoon Network doesn't like to actually release the shows that it makes, so you kind of have to wait 1,000 years to do any of it. Now, I know, right? Whatever their release schedule is, man, it's wacky.
Is this going to be like the release of the last couple seasons of Korra?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think anybody can mess up anything as badly as Nickelodeon did with Korra, but yeah.
Let's release one episode here, one episode on the internet, one episode on this other website. Made no sense.
Yeah, no.
Well, I watched a couple of the shows we talked about during our winter rundown.
Oh, yeah? I'm gonna wait for all of Mob Psycho to come out before I watch it.
Having seen what I've seen so far, that's probably a wise choice.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great, especially if you watch it all at once, but, I just gotta...
Usually when there's a lot of hype and you watch the first episode, you're always underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I can't say I was underwhelmed. It was just not quite as amazing as I led myself to believe.
Yeah.
But that's my own fault. It'll get better. Right now, it's
I'm sure.
Monster of the Week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the first one sort of started out that way, too, so...
I did watch an episode of, on my wife's behest, Kaguya-sama Love is War.
And you said that it was super my jam? It's 2 yanderes trying to out-yandere each other?
It's 2 yanderes trying to out-yandere each other. But they're only yandere when they're near each other. Like, if they're separated, they turn tsundere.
Oh, boy.
But it's a yandere slice-of-life rom-com.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I don't know how this...
Is it on Crunchy?
It is on Crunchy.
Woohoo!
On a delay, it's like...
Oh, well, whatever. Who cares?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, episode 1. It's free. Everybody should go watch it if you're into really weird psychological games. Yeah. Let's see, what else did I watch? I did watch an episode of Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka.
How was that? I assume kind of garbagey.
Yeah. Imagine every magical girl grit trope you could imagine all thrown into one show.
Oh, no.
But somehow it kind of works. I'm not going to go so far as to say I like it or that I endorse it, but I might have to watch another episode to be like, is it garbage? Or is
It's probably garbage.
Or is it doing a unique spin on this?
No, it's
so far
garbage.
It just looks like derivative, but I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the setup is the whole normal magical girl save the world type business, but that's already happened. But they're still around, so now they're going to fight international terrorism.
I don't know if that's clever or makes me hate everything.
So is it Magical Girls meets Black Rock Lagoon? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
And then the last thing I watched, which was Boogiepop and Others.
Oh, yeah, how was the first episode of that?
Well, I actually ended up watching
a couple episodes,
3 episodes of that.
Yeah.
They covered the entire first book in 3 episodes.
Oh, is that good or bad? Probably. I mean, that's better than their normal rate of 1 episode per book. So, I mean, that can't be too bad.
It follows the pattern that shows have been doing for years, which is 1 book every 3 episodes. That's what they did with Overlord. But I feel like Boogiepop isn't the one to do that with because there's lots of characters. It's all about relationships. It's supposed to be slow. So, I mean, it's good because now they're reprinting a bunch of the Boogiepop books in English. So I got that at least.
That's cool.
On the other hand, and this is where I think both of us are going to take great issue with this show, Boogiepop doesn't whistle.
Oh, come on.
I know, right? It's like
you gotta do the whistle.
What is it? You couldn't get the rights to Die Meistersinger?
Yeah, well, what do you do? Do what you can.
I don't know. Maybe they're going to cover the next 2 books in the remaining episodes, but I have no idea.
Well, I guess the real question is how many books is this Alita movie going to cover? Because I sure as shoot hope it covers so many.
That's a good question. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about Alita.
Shall we? Because we have watched the anime, and I have read far more Alita than I knew existed, and I am not done yet.
Yeah, so for the first anime that we're going to watch of this year, we decided to watch Battle Angel Alita because A, it is a classic, and B, a movie about it is coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Let's discuss how we're going to talk about this because it's
how
very
can we
complicated.
talk about this? It's very complicated.
So, do we want to limit our initial discussion to just the OVA, and in the context of the OVA by itself, or the OVA in historical context?
Well, I think we definitely need some historical context here because people might not even know what the heck Alita is, other than the weird bug-eyed movie coming out.
You may have done a little more research into this than I did. Would you like to tell the viewers about Battle Angel Alita and its origins?
Okay. So Battle Angel Alita, it actually comes from a manga that ran from 1990 to 1995, originally called Ganmu, which is a combination of the kanji for gun and dream, I guess. It was romanized by the original author as Gunnm, which is a terrible name. Gun. And it stars a cyborg named in the original Gally, which is also a really terrible name.
It really is.
So when it got brought to the States, I think 97-ish, right around when the OVA came out, they changed a bunch of the stuff to make it better for a Western audience. They changed the name of the thing to Battle Angel Alita, changing the titular character to Alita. There weren't too many changes aside from that, other than they've gone back and forth on what to name the Sky City.
It's either Zalem or Salem or
Typhurius or some such nonsense.
Yeah.
Either way, it got weird. So,
one interesting fact I found out about the OVA itself and its production is it was originally just going to be a side project for the mangaka, but then he decided, I don't really have any time for this. You guys just do whatever you want. I'm busy. Go away. So he decided he had nothing to do with the OVA, and so the OVA and the manga are extremely different.
I wouldn't say that. I would say they're actually pretty close together. I mean, there's some artistic license taken. It's not as close as a lot of OVA to manga translations that we're used to these days. But it takes some license, but it's overall within acceptable parameters.
Yeah, because back then you still had to animate everything by hand. It was early 90s, so if you wanted a project, it had to be like super small budget because no one is going to do another Akira for no reason. 2 episodes, what are you going to do? How are you going to get all those themes across in just 2 episodes?
I mean, they basically did the first 2 books, and they did them quite well. The first 2 volumes, I should say.
I mean, they captured the main thrust of stuff, but there were a lot of major changes.
They captured the main thrust of those original 2 volumes, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me say that. Because I've read all of it.
Let's just say, overall, what were your impressions of the OVA before we get into
I liked it a lot. It's pretty good. It's very violent, which I was not quite expecting. But it's really good. I really like it's got a good cyberpunk feel to it. It's a little more actiony than I thought it would be. And it had some really great themes of it had a really good a tragic romance in there and trying to obtain the unobtainable. Overall, solid. Really enjoyed it. The animation's a little dated. And it's a little hyper-violent for not a huge amount of reason, but it's good.
It's nothing like I remember it.
Yeah, I never saw it originally, so I couldn't tell you.
See, I saw it way back in college, and I didn't remember most of it. Except her hair. She has super 80s hair.
Oh, it's so 80s. It's so great.
It's like every time, and this is in the manga too, she gets her hair wet, I think she looks way better. But then it poofs out.
He slowly fixes her hair over the past 30 years.
Okay.
Over the past 30 years, her hair's slowly changed. So.
Okay. Well, in the OVA, it is poofy as hell.
Oh, it's so 80s.
It's so
I love it.
Big
I love it.
It is hyper violent. There's a fair bit of nudity and sexual stuff in it, which I was not expecting at all.
Yeah, there's more of that than I thought. There's not very much. There's no like. There's a little bit of nudity in the manga, but not a whole lot. But it's definitely not like an ecchi manga in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, there's some. It wanted to get down and dirty.
I was left with the impression that, I mean, obviously it was only 2 episodes. They didn't have a lot of time, but the pacing was extremely rushed.
Well, I didn't feel that.
Oh yeah, it was really rushed. If we take it in its historical context, for what it is, it's really cool. And I appreciate it. I wouldn't go as far as say I like it.
I would say the first episode is very rushed, but I think the second episode took enough time.
I will agree with that. The second episode by itself is good. The first episode is really rushed. A lot of things are covered really fast that don't really make sense.
Agreed. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
They make a little more sense in the first 2 volumes of the manga, which is as far as I've read. But I don't know. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and be unpopular and say that I can't say that the OVA has held up over the years.
It's not amazing, right? Like, it's fine. It's a fine story. I think the second episode is very good. It's a very good cyberpunk story. The themes are spot on. The mood is there. The second episode is really what you want to watch of this.
It works a lot better as a launching point off into the manga, I feel.
Oh boy.
And obviously it did for you and me.
Yeah, because let's read this, because that's very short. So I was like, well, I got plenty of time until we record, so let's read this manga.
So here's the thing. Let's say the movie covers the exact same material the OVA did.
It is not supposed to. According to the Wikipedia, it's covering the first 3 volumes, so that includes the motorball arc.
See, I was going to say, if it covers the exact same amount of material and is feature length, it might honestly, super unpopular opinion, be better than the OVA.
Could be. The only problem I have with it is that it's now being able to have very informed Alita opinions. The world isn't the way it really should be for it to be a true Alita adaptation. The world of the movie is far cleaner than it should be.
Well, obviously, otherwise you're not going to get anything below an R rating.
Well, no, I mean, not necessarily like the gore level, like sure, fine, whatever. But I just mean like in the manga and the OVA, the only like extremely clean lined cyborg is Alita. All the others are like way more industrial, way more cyborg mutant. Where in this film, it's like there are a lot of humans living in the scrapyard, which is super not the case. Like everyone in the scrapyard is a cyborg of one stripe or another.
They're all augmented in some way.
Like everybody is. So it's a little weird that there's not that in the film.
Yeah.
And the other cyborgs from Zalem. The other cyborgs seem to also be from Zalem, which I hope is not the case, because that would be really dumb and wrong. But they're also very clean lined.
But now, having watched the OVA and read some of the manga, let's cut to the chase here. Yeah. Why the big eyes?
You know, that's still an excellent question, right? I don't know.
Because you think
I kind of like the look, but it doesn't make any sense. It's true.
It doesn't make any sense. Like if it's a normal anime-ish thing that's in the source material, okay. But in the source material, she doesn't have giant eyes all the time. And she's just supposed to be a normal-looking girl from all outward appearances. So
yeah, it's a little strange.
I can see the artistic choice if you're going to do that, but they only do it to Alita.
Look, but it's weird. Yeah.
They don't do it to any other cyborgs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It is a little weird. I kind of dig it, but it's a little strange.
I think it's too uncanny valley for me. I don't know. I'll have to see it to make a final judgment, but
yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. I'm going to go see it while I'm in New York for Toy Fair.
All right. Shall we dig into spoiler land?
I suppose we can if we want to spoil something that literally came out 24 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, you didn't see it.
Oh, sorry. 22 years ago.
You didn't see it until just now. So
yeah, well, come on. That's my fault, not its.
There's your warning. Go watch the 40 minutes of OVA. Or just read the manga. You can just read the manga. Manga's good.
Okay, well, hold on.
Manga is better than the OVA. Let me put it that way.
Let me preface this, okay? Like, if you're going to get into the manga, it depends if you want to be in for a penny, in for a pound.
Uh-huh.
Read the first 3 arcs, and you're fine. Read the first 3 arcs. Once Desti Nova shows up, either buckle the fuck up or bail out. You got 2 options. I will recommend buckling up.
There's no half-assing that one?
Oh no, there is not. That is when it gets buck crazy. So you can either continue on in blissful ignorance that any more Alita exists and have a wonderful cyberpunk classic that you have read and consumed and enjoyed, or you can strap into the roller coaster that ends so far away from where you thought it would go. Because I just finished the 3rd omnibus of Alita Last Order, which is the sequel manga to the original, and I just read like 8 chapters worth of backstory info dump featuring vampires. So like,
aren't they also on Mars? Are they Mars vampires?
Oh, lands, no, that would just be stupid.
Oh,
Mars is populated by neo-Nazis and Japanese loyalists left over from World War II.
Oh,
obviously,
as
you do. Come on.
Let's focus on the OVA at least for now, and then we can go into what in the world happens later on down the line in the manga.
Well, we can deal with the manga at some other time. Let's go through the OVA first.
Sure.
But yes, yeah.
First episode is Rusty Angel, and this is where Ito actually finds, are we going to call her Gally or Alita?
We'll call her Alita. There's a big thing even in the mangas and stuff that tell you about why the name has been legacied in, because first off, Gally is just terrible. So
Alita then. Ito finds Alita in a scrap heap, basically dead, almost dead, but not quite. So he takes her back to his shop or hospital, mix of both.
It's a cyber hospital.
Yeah, and basically in the OVA fixes her up, gives her a slightly new body, and from there her adventures begin.
Yeah.
So I did like that in the first 30 seconds of Alita, there is a super amount of world building.
There is. They do a good job with just like good establishing shots. They build a lot of the world just through showing, which is extremely good.
A bleak and dark sunset. You've got this massive superstructure up in the sky, technological marvel up there, and it's just dumping garbage out of its butt. Essentially.
Yeah, basically.
And
it's got like this broken spindle.
This is where all the people live. Down here in the toilet, essentially.
Or at least these are the people we're going to be featuring.
And there's androids in that trash heap. So
yeah,
it's not only just a wasteful society that lives up there, but it's also a pretty brutal one. And now that trash is down here, what are the people down here like?
Exactly.
There were some things I noticed just as we were sitting in Ito's office before we even found out anything else. There are a lot of wanted posters on the wall behind him.
Yes, which is good foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I figured when I first saw it, I just thought it's like, oh, well, he's like a cyber doctor, right? So he would have to know like who, if somebody comes into a shop wounded, if they're wanted or not, right?
So we meet Yugo almost right away. He's kind of like a handyman who's working for Ito a little bit, fixing his fan generator, I guess, on top of his roof.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a wind turbine.
And Alita is pretty smitten with him, although he is as thick as a harem protagonist.
Oh, I love it. I love these old 80s designs. One of the fun things about reading the manga is since it takes this 5-year hiatus between 1995 and 2000 is when he starts redoing the manga again. Since all the sort of aesthetics have changed in the interim years, it's really interesting. It's like getting those new hardback editions of JoJo and seeing how the mangaka draws those old JoJos with today's aesthetics. It's just really interesting to see.
I'll have to be on the lookout for that when it does that time jump. So one thing I noticed about Yugo right away was he's got this giant scar on his hand. It's very prominent, or on his wrist, I guess. And immediately, I'm like, he's either tried to kill himself in the past, and he's keeping that as like some sort of war wound, or he got a new hand for some reason. Which, spoilers, he did. But we don't find out about that until the second episode. After that, Ito starts sneaking out of the house at night, and Alita gets suspicious and follows him.
Well, because she has been warned that there is somebody been stalking the streets. killing young girls for their bits. Literally, like for their like arms, legs, and stuff.
For their spinal cords and brains.
Yep.
Now that's one of the things that the OVA does absolutely no justice to.
Yeah, it doesn't do as well. Like the manga really plays out that a lot longer.
There are a lot of parts that cyborgs can replace. Like pretty much everything. Except spinal columns and brains.
And dim brains.
And
dim brains.
But also, there's this whole idea that the brain is like the last part of a person that still is the person. That's played up too. So you've got these two things, and they don't really mesh well together if you think about it for more than 10 seconds in the OVA. Because it sounds like you can steal brains as replacement parts for other brains, which...
Yeah.
I don't get it. Turns out Ito is a bounty hunter, or as they call them in here, hunter warriors. But he's a bounty hunter, and he gets himself into a bit of a scrap. Very good that Aleta followed him that night, because turns out she's got some super moves.
Now, hold on. You can't just say he's a bounty hunter and leave it at that. He's got a rocket hammer.
He does have a rocket hammer with a spike on the end. So he's got a rocket warhammer.
Yeah, he's one very tiny, very thin, very cartoony Reinhardt.
He is. But turns out Aleta has all these moves that she just happens to know. She doesn't know why she knows them or how she got them.
Yeah, because she has no memory of her former life.
No, she's just making do where she is. And she has a very good attitude about it. Good for her. Ito, on the other hand, is extremely upset about this. He actually tells her, look, I don't want you involved in this kind of life. It's terrible. It's rough. It's brutal. I mean, you just kicked a guy's brains out.
Yeah.
All you have to do is be pretty. That's your job. And she gets super pissed about that for some reason.
Yeah, which is really good. I know, right? Especially for like the 90s. Like an anime circa 1990.
Yeah. All you gotta do is be cute. She's like, screw that. I'm gonna kick guys' brains out.
Yeah, buddy. I'm not your dress up doll.
Now, one thing I did like about the manga part of this, rather than the OVA, is in the OVA, she is portrayed as this sort of naive waif who just feels like she has to do bounty hunting because she feels like that's her calling.
Yeah.
So she's just going along with it. Whereas in the manga, she has some super bloodlust, and she's like, yeah, I like it. And I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to get money for it, too.
Yeah, because she's going to fight for her sake, gosh darn it.
Yeah. And she is
It's the only way she can maybe slightly remember what she is. She's very good at it. Because she knows the Martian cyborg martial arts how's it? Panzerkunst?
Panzerkunst.
Yes, very good.
I forget how that
Be very careful when you say that.
I
just realized trying to say it. I was like, oh.
It's German. It's fine.
It's very German.
It's what?
There's lots of German.
War fist? Is that what it is?
Art. War art.
War art. Okay. Well, in a side scene, we find out that Yugo is being indoctrinated into doing some pretty...
An armor art, or tank art.
Tank art. Yugo is involved in some pretty shady stuff. Now, it's played up in the manga like he is, or in the OVA, as if he is just now getting into the business of stealing body parts, especially spinal cords.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have a big long talk with him, like, yeah, you're not normally doing this stuff, but we need you to do this stuff. Whereas in the manga, he's been doing it for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
And instead, this guy, Vector, really wants him to not only steal the spinal cords, but start stealing the brains. He's like, but that's killing, and I'm not cool with that. It's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. You really want to get to Zalem, right? Because Yugo is super focused on just getting to Zalem. All he wants. Can't see past it. He throws away his morality. He throws away his...
Yeah.
Anything that Aleta is tossing his way as far as the batting of the eyes and
advances.
such.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's got it hard for this guy. Now, what I like especially... They still do it in the manga for a long time, but especially in the OVA, what's nice is you really never see anything of Zalem. It is definitely just a dream.
It's a thing up there.
Like, literally, an unattainable thing that's up there that you want. You're not even sure what you're wanting.
It's weird, because everybody wants to get up there, but no one... There's only a couple people that have been there that have been tossed down into the scrap heap, like Ito and his lady friend, which only exists in the OVA. Like, they have come from Zalem. The lady, what's her name?
Oh, yeah,
Chirin? Chirin wants
Chirin.
to
She's going to be in the
back.
movie. They're using her for the movie, I guess.
Yeah, she really wants to get back, and she'll do anything to get it. Whereas Yugo's case, it's murder. In her case, it's prostituting herself, essentially.
Yeah.
None of them have guarantees, really, that life in Zalem is any better than down here. Because even those who were ostracized from up there won't even talk about what it's like. They just want to get back.
Yeah.
It is nice that it's that big symbol just hanging in the sky. You never get to see it.
Yeah, it's really good. And they keep that up for the anime in the manga for a long time.
I assume she gets up there at some point.
Technically not until last order.
Now, would you like to know something really funny? I think they talk about this in the manga, but they do not mention it at all in the OVA. Where Zalem is, where this whole story takes place.
It's in like Minnesota or no, it's
Kansas.
No, I literally know this. No, it's St. Louis actually.
Is it St. Louis?
Absolutely St. Louis.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, you'd have no idea. You'd think, oh, it's probably Tokyo in the future. Nope, Middle America.
St. Louis, yep.
Exactly where you'd expect it to be. It's like, how far in the future does this take place? Like 24,
okay,
50 something?
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, I gotta look it up. Let's see. Battle Angel Alita takes place in what? It's something like SE 449. It's something like 2414. It's taking place somewhere in the 2400s, I believe.
Battle Angel Alita series begins in ES 577.
Okay, oh, 577. Oh, that's way later. Yeah, it's 2514.
So it takes place quite a ways in the future. So at some point, St. Louis will become a trash heap.
Yeah.
A bigger trash heap.
Well, that's part of the vampire backstory I just finished reading.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah,
Yugo's into bad stuff. He goes and talks to Vector, and Vector tries to convince him that, hey, if you just do a couple more spinal cords and brains, I'll get you up there. That's where you want to be, right? And Yugo agrees. And when he's dropped off by Vector at his house, Alita's there waiting for him. Again, she's throwing all kinds of signals at him, and he is, in this case, he's drunk. So a little bit more excusable. But he's still oblivious and still laser focused. It's also at this time that Alita picks up a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
Puppy.
Yeah. Hashtag doesthedogdie.com. Let me check.
The answer is yes.
Yes, the dog dies. Yes, the dog does indeed.
Which I will admit.
Yes, the dog dies. The dog dies.
It's the worst part of either episode. Like, but no, not the puppy. Come on now. Anyway, the criminal that she originally kicked in the face back with when she saved Ito, he shows up super decked out now, thanks to Chirin, who for some reason has unknown motives to get back at Ito for something.
It's because she doesn't exist in the manga.
Yeah.
They needed another villain.
She doesn't have good motivations in the OVA.
So basically, she is some replacement for this Dr. Desti Nova.
Yeah.
She's kind of an analog for him. It doesn't matter a whole lot.
No, but she is one of the prime movers in the OVA.
Yes. And she's going to be in the film, probably taking up a lot of the spots Desti Nova would.
It would make sense.
Obviously.
Anyway, she souped up this dude, and this dude is out for some revenge because his partner got killed, and he got his whole body, like, trashed.
Super bad.
So he's back for some blood, and he takes it out of the puppy, which is horrifying.
It's really sad.
But then Alita decides...
Does the thing. She does the thing.
She does the thing. She puts the puppy's blood under her eyes and goes super bloodlust. Yeah,
she does.
And just kicks the crap out of this guy. Mostly his brains.
The fight is definitely better in the manga, but it's still pretty good fight.
It's very nice that she uses some of these skills to trick him into destroying himself.
Yes.
Instead of just flat out punching her way through it. So she's got some smarts and as well as brawn. So that's essentially the first episode right there. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens and a lot of stuff that gets set up, and there's a whole plot arc, lots of stuff, and it's only like 25 minutes long. So
yeah, mostly it's Alita fight good.
That part's good. The rest of it, I don't know if it's because it was rushed or what, but there's a lot of things that are just brought up, but they aren't firmly established. like Chirin's motivations. We have to figure them out as we go, and we don't.
Yeah, you kind of do.
We don't really know anything until the end of episode 2. So
this is definitely in the old order of OVAs, where it's basically just a 2-part film, is what it boils down to. You definitely have to take both parts as one whole.
And even if you do that, it's a 1-hour film.
Yeah.
Not even that.
It's not super long.
50 minutes. So it's cramming a lot of stuff into 50 minutes.
It does. It does.
Anyway, on to part 2. Tears sign.
Yes, this is the good one. This one's very good.
This is the good one because it focuses almost exclusively on the relationship between Aleta and Yugo.
Now, the Wikipedia for the movie claims that it is this episode this episode and this arc that the film is most going to be taking from.
Which makes sense.
But we'll see. Yeah, because it's definitely some of the best part. It's going to be combining this with some of the motorball stuff that's in the 3rd arc of the manga.
So Yugo, having been convinced to do the spinal column stealing and brain stealing, goes out, and in the OVA he's super green at this, and his first mark turns out to be a bounty hunter.
Yep.
Does not go well for him. Really doesn't go well for his friend.
Not. Yeah, no, it doesn't. He kind of gets cut into bits.
And before he gets cut into bits, he says Yugo's name, which...
That's an amateur mistake right there.
Super amateur.
That is like rule 1 of this kind of work, right?
Yeah, so now the bounty hunter knows Yugo's name, knows where to find him. Now he's a wanted man. And his wanted posters go up all over town. Yugo freaks out like really bad, goes to Vector. Vector tells him, okay, look, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just bring me all the money that you've collected so far, and I'll send you to Zalem right now.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
This is super on the up and up. Don't worry.
It's all cool. Well, Aleta finds out that he's marked, as it were.
Yeah.
And so she goes to try to find him. There's some other stuff going on, too, with Chirin, but that's not really important.
It's not super important, because Chirin's not really very important.
She doesn't really do anything in this episode. Anyway, Aleta finds Yugo in the warehouse where they originally, quote-unquote, met, or at least had their first quote-unquote date, where they stared up at Zalem for a while together. He's in there counting all his cash, and she has decided, she was convinced by Ito that the guy doesn't love you at all. You love him a lot, but he doesn't know you exist. All he cares about is Zalem. So she's going to find out, do I A, capture him for the bounty, or B, do what my heart says? But I'm not going to do that unless I know how he feels. So she's gone there to confront him about his feelings towards her.
Mm-hmm.
And in the OVA, he is a super manipulative asshole.
Kinda, yeah.
Like, really bad. Like, she corners him and says, look, I love you. What are you going to do about it? Like, what's your response? And he's like, go home. Don't worry about it. I got my own things. You got your own things. Cool break. And she's like, that wasn't a straight answer. You're going to give me a straight answer right now.
Yeah, she throws him up against the frickin' wall.
And his response is, I guess we're partners in crime then. What kind of response is that?
I know, right?
And for the next 30 seconds, he does everything to manipulate her emotions because he sees a way out of his situation.
Doesn't he? Bless his heart. You get tragic backstory.
Text. Found out his hand is actually from his older brother who raised him, and then decided that he was going to build a blimp to get to Zalem.
Yeah, turns out those are super illegal.
And his wife sold him out.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Oh, but not as harsh as what Aleta says next after hearing this backstory.
Oh, I didn't write that down. What'd she say?
Oh, it's so cold. Oh, do you not remember? Oh, it's so good.
What'd she say?
No, because she's like staring at Yugo / whatever his name is, and is like, I can definitely understand that. Seeing someone in front of you that you love, but all they see is some faraway dream that they'll never obtain, and you might get jealous, and you might just want to see them dead. And he's like, yeah, I guess so, Aleta. Oh, it's just so stone cold. It's so good.
You've reminded me, because right after that, she looks at him straight in the eye and is like, so, should I kill you?
Yeah, it's very good.
He's like, no, we're best bros now.
We're very good friends, yes.
Well, that's the last laugh there, because now everybody's going to die in quick succession. So Yugo is found out. He goes outside to wash his face, and the bounty hunter that he originally tried to stab in the neck is back, tracked him down. Turns out it's the same one that killed his old brother there.
His brother, yep.
So it's somewhat poetic justice here. Yugo gets hacked to pieces.
He super does.
Just slice and dice right there. Gets his head lopped off. Alita comes outside, sees this, and goes full on, first my puppy, and now my puppy.
Yeah. Literally berserker mode, one might say.
You gonna die. And not only does she punch and kick and all that, she calls down lightning from above.
It's very good. It's very good. So it's been storming this whole time, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things, when she kisses Yugo, and he's like, man, it's like kissing a battery. And she's like, yeah, my cybernetic body recharges from the atmosphere when there's storms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it does weird stuff. So when she's fighting this guy, she like catches his sword or something, and then just all the fins on her armor like open up as she gathers charge from the surrounding surrounding atmosphere. The opposing bounty hunter has no idea what she's doing. He's just like, well, you can't hold my sword forever. And but what she's done is she's become so negatively charged or positively charged or whatever, however lightning works. Yeah. She gets so charged that she then dashes away real fast because she is charged up enough to summon a lightning bolt down to just fry this guy, and it's very satisfying.
And it's not even like the normal, what you get in cartoons, someone gets hit by lightning and they zappy zap, and then they're just sort of singed all over and fall down. No, he's reduced to skeleton and like some muscle that's left over.
Yeah, and his brain like oozes out. Like, no joke.
He dead.
He's dead. Stone cold.
But so's Yugo.
In the manga, a little less completely dead, but still very dead.
Yugo's also almost super dead. I mean, his head got lopped off. Now, here's where we get a thing. This is where Chirin actually
this doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
In which version? Because I think this particular aspect makes more sense in the OVA.
Well, I mean, I guess so.
So Chirin up until now has been working against Ito, wants to kill Alita. Basically, the world can burn as long as I get up there. And she has been listening in on the whole backstory, the love confession, all that stuff. And feels really bad because she used to be that optimistic about everything or something like to that effect. So she has pity on poor Yugo and Alita and hooks Yugo's head up to Alita's cybernetic body and keeps his brain alive.
Yeah.
In the manga, Alita just does that herself.
Does it, yeah.
Without any expertise.
There's also a really sweet showdown over the head in the manga. But
yes, I wish that had been in the show because that was cool.
I know, right? It's very good.
She defeats a bounty hunter while holding on to Hugo's head the whole time and manages to get the other guy arrested and then slices his face off.
Yeah.
It's great.
That'll come back to bite her later. But for right now, it's really cool.
It never works out when she doesn't flat out kill the other guy.
No, it really doesn't.
Turns out he's coming back.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't end well for poor Miss Alita.
So Alita takes Yugo's head back to Dr. Ito and says, my boyfriend is ahead now. He's ahead in life.
Fix?
Can you help him out? And Ito, again, takes pity. He finds an old cybernetic body that he's got laying around. It's not as cool as Alita's, but whatever.
Yeah.
And attaches the head. Everything's great. He's in recovery. He's gonna be cool.
He's gonna make it.
But he goes out in the hallway and tells Alita, so I know all about Vector and all that. He was lying to him the whole time. There's no getting back to Zalem. See this mark on my forehead? It means that I used to live up there and I can't go back no matter what I do. That's the same for everyone down here. No one can get up there. Can't pay your way. You can't fly. Nothing. There's no way up. Well, Hugo overhears this and is like, screw you guys. I have a dream. Yeah. So he bolts.
Yep. He does. Bless his little heart.
Yeah. Alita gives chase, and in the OVA, Ito decides, you know what? I've had it about it up to here with that Vector guy. I'm going to go dole out some justice. Because if he's the head of the crime organization that put up all these guys going out and stealing brains and such, if we take him down, dominoes will fall, etc. Chirin also has shown up to Vector's office and is like, all right, I want up there now. He's like, all right, you got it. So he delivers on his promise. Chirin is going to Zalem. Just not all in one piece.
No, not at all.
It's kind of sad.
Little bitch.
I mean, you kind of see it coming, but it's still like, ugh. Because they show you all the jars of what used to be Chirin.
Yeah.
It
turns out the people in Zalem want body parts every month.
Well, anyway, Vector gets his in a pretty awesome fight. I liked that fight a lot. There's a lot of poetic justice in that fight, where Vector ends up killed by his own monstrosity on accident.
Mm-hmm.
But Aleta then finds out where Hugo went. Hugo went to one of the spindly things that hang down.
Climbing the cables.
It's a question whether they're cables or whether they're
like resource tubes. It's how they like get all the products that are made down on the earth, like food and whatnot, that the factory makes up into the city.
Anyway, he's climbing up that thing. And this is probably a scene that most people have seen at least once, even if they don't know where it came from. Because I know it was in AMV Hell in several places. Hugo is climbing that thing. Alita's giving chase. But it turns out that Zalem has a cool system for dealing with things trying to crawl up the cables.
Spins down razor hoops.
Razor hoops of death.
Yeah, it's no good.
Hugo tries to jump over one, but it cuts his feet off. But he's nothing if not determined. So he continues climbing. Aleta tries to coax him back down, but it doesn't work. He's like, all I want is Zalem. That's it. That's all I want out of life. And she's like, you know, you could have a life down there with me and other people that care about you. How about that? And I don't remember if in the OVA he accepts her offer, because in the manga he does. He's like,
I don't think he does in the OVA. He's just like, let me fall. If I can't have Zalem, I don't want nothing.
Well, he gets his wish.
Like, goodbye. Yeah, I know.
Because as he says it, another hula hoop comes down and just shatters him.
Owns his ass.
Aleta catches him with a pretty cool move of sticking her knife into the cable and holding on to him.
Yeah, it's really good, right?
But he's too heavy for his new arm, so the arm severs. And down he goes.
It's good, man. Like, this is like, that's what you want out of like a cyberpunk dystopic romantic tragedy, right?
No happy endings and robots.
No happy endings. Guy who's too busy looking at like the utopia far away to notice that like happiness can be around him, and it's just well done.
The last scene of the OVA has Ito, who found Chirin's earring, and Aleta, who kept Hugo's arm, both putting him in a little balloon on a basket and sending it towards Zalem, where the both of them wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good.
It's a really bleak last scene, and it's really good.
It's like it's really do what you want from a cyberpunk thing, right?
But again, the pacing, the number of characters, it didn't do the OVA any favors.
It did not.
It did good for what it was given, but still, the movie could probably improve on the OVA.
I don't know. Maybe. It won't be as gory, that's for sure.
No.
There won't be brain-eating mutants.
Well, there weren't brain-eating mutants in the OVA either. That was in the manga.
I guess you're right. It's all in the manga where people eat brains. Still, bah!
Hello, this is Future Ben. Just so you know, what transpires next is an in-depth spoiler of basically all of the manga, at least through half of Last Order. So if you don't want to be spoiled on that, you should stop here. Next time we are going to watch Paranoid Agent. We hope to see you then. But if you go on past this, be warned, spoilers. So speaking of the manga...
Oh boy, howdy.
Tell us about what happens next.
Oh, what happens next?
Yeah.
Let's see, we just finished off here. Okay, so what happens next is Gold Miss Aleta is very jaded from this whole ordeal, with Yugo. And she runs off to forget all of her troubles in the crazy sport of motorball.
What happens in motorball? How do you win?
How do you win motorball? You have the motorball, or you're the last man standing.
Oh my.
She gets roller skates. She has a roller skate body. Either way, during that arc, let's see how to explain it in a concise way. Ito goes to try and find her because she's been missing for, I think, a year at this point, and he's been around trying to find her. And he does find her, but she won't give him the time of day. So he teams up with the person who's at the very top of the motorball leagues. Yeah. And he's like, well, if she's not going to come home, I'm just going to make sure that she gets beat for once. That way she'll give up on this whole bloodlust rage out thing.
Uh-huh.
So he goes and helps soup up the champion of motorball. And they all do their standard sort of shonen stuff, and they end up fighting.
Does she win?
And of course she does. Of course she does. She beats him up. But it's a good meaningful fight for both of them, and she learns a lot along the way, as you do.
As you do.
Then there's a nice brief respite period where they have a nice happy life for like something like 3 years, I think. There's a nice decent span of time in which they have a nice happy life together. I know. And then everything falls apart.
Oh.
Okay, so do you remember Zapan?
Zapan. No.
Zappin, right? Now he's the guy whose face she cut off.
Ah. Okay.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I remember that. His brain almost fell out.
Okay, so 2 other things you have to understand. First off, we start hearing about this other guy from Zalem named Desti Nova.
Uh-huh.
Who's another mad scientist. And in order to play Motorball, Aleta gives up her berserker body for the chassis that she would need to play Motorball. Okay. Now, the berserker body, which I don't think they bring up in the anime at all, is a different body that in the manga she loses her original cybernetic body in the first fight with the brain-eating mutant. Yeah. It breaks.
Yeah, and he found that berserker body in like a spaceship. Which it doesn't imply Mars, aliens. It just means, there's a thing that fell from space, and I found it.
So a berserker body uses nanites and has other special properties. But she gives up that body to play Motorball. Well, Desti Nova gets his hands on the berserker body and his hands on the half a brain of Zeppon.
Oh boy.
And he mixes those 2 together after taking the limiters off of the berserker body's nanites.
Ooh, I didn't know it had limiters.
Oh, this ends about as bad as you would think, as you end up with a terrible gray goo type scenario with the berserker body fueled by Zappon's mad obsession with killing Aleta.
Awesome.
So she goes and she has to go kill him. In order to kill this new gray goo Zeppon, she has to get a gun from Desti Nova. Desti Nova then books it along with the remains of Ito, because somewhere in here Zeppon turns Ito into goop.
As you do.
So Desti Nova books it along with the rest of Ito, and Aleta goes off with her new nifty gun to go kill Zeppon. However, guns are super illegal.
Oh.
In the junkyard.
She
does, of course.
She has a bounty on her head?
Sort of. So she kills him, but she used a gun. Uh-huh. So the gun is like a high crime. It's a crime against Zalem. So the Zalem authorities come and get her.
Uh-oh.
They're going to dismantle her and throw her away. But people from Zalem give her a choice to become their agent on Earth in exchange for, keeping her alive.
What does that entail? Agent on Earth.
She has to do their dirty work on the ground.
I see.
But they all hold up in Zalem where it's super nice and fun.
I see.
She does that for like 5 years, all while that there is a rebellion brewing against Zalem and the people of the junkyard, led by a giant centaur mech named like Bojack. Yeah. No.
Is that his real name?
It's something like that. Oh. It's Barjack or Bojack or something. Yeah, I know, right? It's only funny in hindsight. So that happens.
Okay.
She puts a stop to that, and she ends up finally killing Desti Nova and all this nonsense. But the original manga end runs with her having stopped the rebellion against Zalem, sort of, even though Zalem kind of fixed it, and killing Desti Nova.
So she never actually ends up in Zalem.
Not yet.
Okay.
So the original manga run ends. She kills Desti Nova after Desti Nova has revealed that all the people in Zalem, they have their brains scooped out and replaced by a microchip.
Ah.
So while everyone on the ground is basically a human brain in a robot chassis, everybody up top is basically a robot brain inside humans.
That's super weird.
Super weird, right? Well, and there's crazy reasons for this, but it's best not to get into right now.
Okay.
Either way.
So is that where Last Order begins? Or
yes.
Does that take place in the past?
No, at the very end of the original run, she thinks she's won, having killed Desti Nova, and she's driving off to the sunset, but then a bomb explodes and she explodes into a million zillion bits, and it's revealed that Desti Nova had a backup microchip of his brain in his tummy.
Okay.
And that's where it ends. So.
All right.
And there's actually 4 more chapters after that are an epilogue that were part of that original run, but those have since been struck from the canon.
What happened in those?
What happens in those is Desti Nova revives her in Zalem, where there have been some riots about the fact that everybody in Zalem has a microchip for a brain, even though no one up there knows that they had microchip for brains.
I see.
And there's a giant supercomputer that controls the city named Melchizedek, but it's broken beyond repair, and she fixes it by like sacrificing her robot body, and the city blooms into a giant flower, and everything's nice and happy from there on out.
I could see why that would be stricken. That's too happy.
So,
yes,
the original mangaka, 5 years after the end of this, decides, I didn't like that ending very much. I think I was rushed doing it. So he starts up Aleta, or in Japanese, Gun Last Order, which runs from the year 2000 to 2014.
Oh my.
It is 19 volumes long.
Good Lord.
The original run of Aleta is 9 volumes long.
That's pretty prolific.
So the revised ending to Aleta is longer than Aleta itself.
That's amazing.
And it gets so much more crazy.
Well, I'm just reading through the volume titles of Last Order.
Yes.
So the first one is Angel Reborn.
Yep.
Then we have
that's where she gets fixed from getting blown up.
Angel of the Innocents.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Angel Eternal. Okay. So far, so good.
Are these the phase titles, or are these the...
These are the volume titles.
The volume, because I've been reading them in omnibus.
So 6 faces per. Then we have Angel of Protest, Haunted Angel, and then Angel and the Vampire.
Oh yes, but boy howdy.
Oh my, why is there a vampire? Should I even ask that question? Something about flan.
That's nice. Oh yeah, because Desti Nova loves flan.
Okay.
Obviously.
I mean, it makes sense. Why not?
Yeah, so basically Aleta goes to space.
All right. And you say...
Barjack. Yeah, Barjack was his name.
Horseman. And
yeah, Barjack Horseman. Yeah, absolutely.
So she goes to space, finds not space vampires, but instead
no,
Mars Nazis.
No, come on. Let's be reasonable here. No, she goes to space to try and find the brain of her friend, who was helping her when she was an agent for Zalem.
Okay.
Because all their brains are kept in a giant supercomputer up in space.
Makes sense.
And since her friend kind of died when everybody figured out that they had microchips for brains, she wants to go find her friend, and the only way to do that is just go find her brain.
Okay.
So she enters into the Zot tournament, which then goes on for the rest of the frickin' manga. That's the Zenith of Things, obviously. The Zenith of Things tournament.
So I'm going to be honest. It sounds like you're describing psychopaths in space.
Oh, it goes so crazy. It's very good.
I feel like I have to read it just to see how crazy it gets.
Well, I mean, I just finished 16 chapters of vampire backstory.
Well,
because we needed to learn about the vampire.
Of course you need to know about the vampire.
She's not a robot vampire. She's a real vampire. She's been a vampire since like the 1800s.
Oh.
The real 1800s. I think the only reason that there's a vampire in this, to be perfectly honest, is he needed to have some bridge character that was alive for all of everything.
So he's just a silent vampire.
He could have a character that has witnessed the entire timeline. And he was like, what lives forever? Oh, vampires do. So there's a vampire.
I can't handle that. It sounds like a man who was drunk at the time going,
Yeah, I don't know. Well, here, I'll just read you what I wrote to my friends about Aleta.
Please do.
Okay. So the OG run of Aleta is 90 to 95, right?
Yeah.
The mangaka is so unhappy with the ending that he starts it back up in 2000, and it runs till 2014. And his big plan for this is that after all that 90s hyperviolent cyberpunk, what we really need is a 14-year-long shonen-style martial arts tournament.
With cyborgs.
Which is a choice, right? Like, I can't say it's a bad choice or a wrong choice, but it's certainly a choice. Oh, and so Aleta's martial arts team that plays in this tournament, this Zot, is made up of Aleta and 3 of her own robot clones. Because she's got robot clones. Because, okay, so you remember in Ava, right? When they make the mass market Ava units?
Yeah.
Well, they pull that trick with Aleta.
Oh, boy.
So while Aleta is Zalem's agent, they're just taking all of her combat data to make Aleta androids.
Okay.
Which she summarily kills, or Unit 6 kills. But either way, her team ends up being herself, Unit 6, Units 11 and 12.
All right.
Now, to be fair, at some point, one of the clones of Aleta has changed their body to a boy after she blew up his original body. So, that happens.
I do like this thing where you told me you were saving more thoughts and how wacky this was.
Yeah, real wacky,
where it starts off with some cyberpunk romantic tragedy, and then by the end, it's giant robot centaurs and a fly-eating mad scientist telling people they have microchips for brains.
Yes, but that's before you get to Last Order, where when I had posted this, I had just read the part where 2 bunny girls defeated a snake charmer robot, while someone else learns they were a Martian terrorist from 200 years ago who was killed by a vampire.
I mean, when you put it like that, it just sounds silly.
Man, how it connects point A to point double Z, I don't know, but it makes sense in context.
It's quite a journey.
It's a journey, tell you what. But I mean, that's the thing. Once Destiny Nova shows up, you got to either buckle up or bail out, because there's no two ways about it. You either got to ride this train to the very crazy end, or you have to just be like, well, that was a good cyberpunk story. I feel like what the movie is doing is it's going through the motorball arc. So it's going like, this is a good cyberpunk story. And you know what I say to that? I say James Cameron is a fucking coward. That's what I have to say about that.
He should just do Last Order and be done with it.
If there's not vampires in this Aleta movie, like why are we even here?
Oh my goodness.
And to be fair, no vampires yet popped out of a horse. So it's not gone that crazy.
Well, it's got room to expand.
But there's time. There's time. I'm on, what did I just say? I'm on Angel Goes Nova. So I'm on 10 out of 19. There's so much more room.
It could happen. Your dreams could be fulfilled. And a cyborg could pop out of a robot horse.
So, I mean, there's a lot left.
But as far as the original OVA goes, it's okay.
Episode 2 is very good.
It's fine. For what the OVA was and what it was trying to accomplish, it did a fairly decent job.
Yeah, the real question is
what?
Am I going to read Battle Angel Mars Chronicle?
I feel like you have to.
I know, right? It started in 2015 and went through last year. It might still be going.
By the time
I don't know.
You finish Last Order, you can be like, yeah, but what happened on Mars?
Yeah, but now I need to know this. Martian Chronicle, is it over yet? Oh, no, it's still going. Yes.
Still going as of November.
It's set to be the final chapter in the Battle Angel Alita series.
There you go.
It's still coming out.
English release date in April. For the
and I guess it's a true prequel, so it's her life on Mars. So this is like a super prequel.
Yeah.
So this is not actually about Alita so much as it's about Yoko, but we'll not worry about that, I guess.
So anyway, I think that's all we got for Alita. I guess you'll give us a review of the movie once you've seen it.
And I can give you rolling updates about Last Order to see where it goes. Because boy howdy, I didn't think I was going to see 2 vampires battle it out on the top of the St. Louis Arch. But yet here we are.
This is the world we've chosen to inhabit.
When you start with, an android was found in a trash heap, your next jump isn't, I bet somewhere in this manga I'm going to see 2 vampires fighting on top of the St. Louis Arch. You don't go there. You don't connect those 2 points.
Oh my!
But that's where it's all ended up for me.
That's where we are.
That's where we are in my life.
Oh goodness! So what are we gonna watch for next time?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Nothing's quite as strange as this.
That's true. They don't make them like
now. The question is do we enter Battle Angel Alita into our Humanity Has Declined series?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because it feels like they've been enhanced, really.
I mean, that's fair. I guess we could do Paranoid Agent.
Ooh, I haven't seen that in a long time. I wonder if it makes more sense. So, for next time, we're going to watch Paranoid Agent. Good old Satoshi Kon.
In the meantime, he died. It's very upsetting. In the meantime, go eat some flan, man.
If you can find some good flan. It's hard to find here.
I have a friend that makes very good flan. Thank you very much.
Well, you're lucky. The only place we can get flan here
in Japan is pudding.
Pudding. The only place we can find flan here is at a Mexican restaurant.
Well, I will leave you with this, brother.
Uh-oh.
And you can
Giga pudding.
we can enjoy our flan with Giga pudding.
And with that, we will see you guys next time.
And this pudding does eat its own head, so it's kind of like eating brains. So it's really kind of...
It's very fitting.
It's very pudding.
It's very pudding.